sort of Sam Neill-esque, isn't he? Jurassic Park-esque.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like pine trees, log cabin, old station wagons. Like, it's up my street already. So I think I'd be more inclined just to have a quick look at some pictures and some little clips and think, yeah, that's good, and make up my own decision.
Yeah, do it. I think so. I think it's been given a bad rap. I see where you're coming from, where you've got the angle, which I totally agree with you, where the sort of general public can't be trusted to make a sensible decision on anything. But I'm coming at it from a different angle. I've lost all faith in professional critics.
Oh, right, okay.
With movies, not with everything, but because I've been burned so many times.
Are you getting this in before we have a professional review of the podcast, so that you can completely just, we just get roundly trounced by the Times podcast section or something? You just go, well, I think I said that I didn't trust them anyways.
I think you're fine. I've actually, exactly right. So that's just covering our bases here. Yeah. But seriously, all of the new James Bonds, apart from Casino Royale on, all of the new Star Wars films, The Hobbit, all of this stuff, a load of the superhero films are rated so well by the professionals. And actually, and the audience tends to either slates them or sort of like is mixed at least. But the critics are like bigging these films up, and I'm going in and I'm seeing them, and I'm so disappointed in the vast majority of them. And I'm jaded. I'm jaded at this point.
Okay, I have a couple of theories with that.
Okay.
Theory number one is that they are the critics maybe are no longer as impartial as they should be or once were. So maybe they're thinking lucrative little deals to be had, like, you want to please the paymaster, basically. So I'm just guessing, but maybe there's a little bit of that involved. And two, the fact that we've worn out the 5-star review. Because now you look at a poster, every other poster on the tube is just covered in 5 stars, right? Yeah. And none of these films are worth 5 stars. Like, some of them are terrible, and they've managed to get 5-star reviews from somewhere. And I'm thinking, you're burning out. You're wasting the 5 stars. So now you put a film out on the tube, it's not worth anything if it's not covered in 5 stars. So now we've got to call everything amazing and groundbreaking and epic and blah, 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 all these worn-out adjectives. And now we can't call a film just, decent and good and exciting, and it's got to be the biggest, best film of the decade.
Yeah, I mean, if you see a 3-star on a poster, that's not an endorsement to go see that film. Like, that's a bad film in people's minds, but it should be. It's good.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's worth a go. Yeah,
worth your money. Watch it once, don't watch it again. That's fine. There's no big deal.
Speaking of which, I watched Steven Seagal in Under Siege last night on Amazon Prime.
Yes,
that's another one of these bloke chick flicks that we were talking about last week. It's just it's classic. There's some great action. Gary Busey, Tommy Lee Jones, Steven Seagal running around this ship. It's got the hottie of the day in it as well. I don't know who she is, but like she must have been the famous girl of that year or whatever.
Does she have short hair?
She does, yeah.
Super short, yeah.
Blonde, short hair, yeah. Why do you know her? I didn't recognise her.
No, I just assumed with the Steven Seagal movie that the hot girl's always got short hair. I think that era of movies, like just like the buzz cut or something.
Yeah. She was a bit of a poor man's Bridget Nielsen. Do you know her? Okay. From Rocky IV, tall, blonde, classic. I think she went out with Stallone for a bit.
Let me Google image there.
Yeah,
What's her name?
Brigitte Nielsen. She was
Brigitte.
Yeah, and she was also with Stallone in Cobra as well, which is another classic of the genre. I'm overusing the word classic. It was decent of the genre. Yeah,
it's a bit like Pink. Oh yeah, of course. Oh yeah, she's in a few.
Yeah, she was super popular around that time.
Right. Okay, cool. So, am I right in thinking this is he is a chef in this film?
Yes, exactly. This is one of the Die Hard copies. This is basically Die Hard on a boat.
Got it.
Right.
Got it. Yes.
In the era
I've
where
seen this
people
film multiple times. So
Die Hard on a boat, Die Hard on a train, Die Hard in a school, Die Hard,
on a plane.
Yeah, just you know what I mean. But yeah, this is Die Hard on a ship.
Great. Does he? He's like breaks a guy's arm, but in like a slow enough way where you can sort of just you're waiting for the snap and it like snaps. I think maybe it's
and he puts a bloke through a bandsaw as well. Like that's right. That's good.
Oh, great. Oh man,
they just write themselves though, don't they? Because it's like, okay, there's going to be some sort of hostile takeover from some terrorists. Like, what situation can we put him in? Okay, a ship. He can't be the captain. He can't be the first mate. Make him the chef. And just, it's just so easy to write these things. Maybe we should write our own, mate.
You know what? Maybe we should. They've tried like bringing them back film. With like Olympus Has Fallen and stuff, and that's not any good. So there's definitely a gap in the market for us.
They're too politically correct nowadays, mate.
You reckon?
And that isn't just me saying, "Oh, political correctness gone mad," and I will explain why. Right?
Okay, go then.
Because I can't remember what comedian it was, but he was basically saying the comedy profession is almost overwhelmingly super left wing. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And anyone who's ever watched Mock the Week will attest to that, right?
Yeah.
And he was saying, and this guy was left wing as well, and he was like, all the comedians I know, they're all left wing, but that's okay, right? Because it's a trade off, right? We've got comedians, and then the right have got action films, right? So you think about all these guys, Gary Busey and Bruce Willis, and all these famous action dudes, like they don't care. They're all Republican senators in later life. Like lots of drinking, lots of smoking, lots of shooting. They're all super right wing. I think that's a decent trade off. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I'm happy with that. You can have comedians. We'll take action films.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think of anything else that they've got. And I don't know where
the left or the right.
Other divides. Yeah, exactly. Are there any other divides that we can clearly see?
In fact, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but this brings me to a point I've been thinking about a lot this week, right? Slightly more serious, but with all recent events, right, of every nature, right, I'll go on Twitter and I'll see two groups of people. One group left, one group right, okay?
Yeah.
And both of them believe that the media is hugely biased against them.
Yeah.
Right? Both of them believe that the mainstream media, and they always use mainstream media, is on the other side, and it's clean cut, and the other side, the media are villains, right?
Sure.
And they've all got little examples like articles and screenshots and stuff. And I look at these, and taken out of context, they do look like one side or the other, right? Mm-hmm. But then you put them together, and you think, well, this is all mainstream media. Surely this is straight down the middle. This is mixed, right? That's the point of the media. It's all mixed, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, maybe I know the answer. Maybe both sides are wrong. The mainstream media isn't biased, but it seems like both sides think that the mainstream media is against them.
They do, yeah, 100%. This is why I believe this is the case, because I think that there's a myth that unbiased opinions exist. And I don't think that they exist. I think that everyone's biased in some way or shape or form, and that's okay because we've all grown up differently. We've all read different books, seen different films, listened to different music. Our culture, everything that's led us to the point of us thinking about a subject has been different. So we're going to come at it from a generally biased point. Obviously, you can account for that when you say things, and when you think about subjects, you can account for these sort of the ways that you think, and you can have a critical thought. However, the media is going to be inherently biased in one way or another, which is fine, I think, as long as you're aware of it when you're watching it.
Right, yeah.
And you're like, okay, cool. So, all right, so we're reading The Guardian. They're going to have a very different opinion to The Independent. There's or trying to think of
the Telegraph or something.
Telegraph, rather. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, they won't have too much of a difference. Guardian, Independent, probably, but so you've got these two sides, and that's fine as long as you're aware of them, and you can read both, possibly, ideally, and then you can find the sort of middle ground there.
Yeah.
The problem, I think, there's an issue though when you have something like the BBC, which is touted to be unbiased.
Yeah.
And people are expecting this sort of these guys to come out with very just these are the facts, no bias there whatsoever, just here's how the the facts. Gosh, I can't get this out.
Give us the facts, Greg. Give us the facts.
There's going to be bias there somewhere, is what I'm trying to say, and I don't think it's a good idea. I actually prefer kind of how America's got it, even though they are even more polarised with their media, especially on TV. At least it's so obvious that there's no mistaking that there's like a political middle ground within a TV show. It's Fox or CNN. You know, you've got these two very different opinions here, and if you watch both, you'll have an idea. The problem you get in, though, is if you're only watching one and then you hear little bits from the other one...
Out of context.
Out of context, especially, you're going to have those ideas where you're going to think, no, they're so biased, they're completely against us. And... that's the thing. You've got to. I think we're thinking about it wrong, or people are thinking about it wrong. Not everyone is, but that's kind of my way I think about it. If that makes sense.
I know what you mean. I also think with our culture of 24-hour news now, it's very hard because there are only a certain amount of facts, right? About obviously certain stories there are a huge amount, but like you know, if a crime's just occurred, right? The police have only released, you know, there are 2 suspects. One person's been killed, blah, 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 and it was next to this park or whatever. And that's all they've released. So for that to fill a 24-hour news network like is very difficult. So they're going to have to pick some picture, and then some people look at the picture and say, well, that picture's biased because that makes you think this. And then, you know, you've obviously got to get someone on to talk about it and think, oh, I wonder what's happened here. And then you think, well, that person's biased. And you think, well, you know, if you just wanted the facts, you could probably get through all the facts in about 8 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And then news is over. Maybe some people would prefer that, but like, you know, especially on an hour news program or 24-hour news channel or something, you've got to sort of pop some opinion in there as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally, and that's fine. I don't have that. I think people should be okay with that. And like I say, it's just as long as people are aware that what they are watching is opinion. Or fact-based, like, so, like, you know, you'll have in a newspaper where it will say, like, opinion piece or something like that. Yeah. It's like a disclaimer to say, listen, this isn't going to be fully... This person has taken the facts and is now giving you his or her opinion on them. So take it with a grain of salt. Think about it yourself. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Don't just lap it up and say, oh, yes, please. More of that, you know. So, I think, I do. I think people just are just totally... they're not thinking the correct way about how media works and how the news organisations will work, because you're right, they do have to run with stories for so long and just vamp effectively around the same sort of subject. I mean, you know what it's like when you go on holiday and you turn on the sort of like BBC International News and they've got like a 30-minute cycle of the same clip that just loops over and over, and you're like, that's what it would be like. If you just wanted the facts and just that was the story, and then you just got that for 30 minutes, every single 30 minutes it looped round and you had nothing else. That's the most real it could be, you know. And people would lose their minds. I would lose my mind anyway.
God, yeah, definitely, yeah. Gavel down, my friend.
Yeah, love it.
Mate, I wanted to ask you a very sensitive question.
Okay.
Response to all.
Dear.
Okay, initially I'm talking TV, but you can talk about anything else. What are your guilty pleasures?
Oh, dude.
What do you watch when no one else is in the house and you think, oh, this isn't very blokey? That's why I watch it when the missus is out.
Oh my gosh,
we've had a lot of time on our hands recently with lockdown, like, and it's very easy to get sucked in on TV, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Oh my gosh.
Do you want me to start off?
I think you better start off. I'll have a think. You kick me off.
I'll give you some examples, okay? One that's less of a guilty pleasure, because I actually quite like it, and I'll watch this with the missus, is First Dates, a First Dates hotel. You ever seen this?
I think so. Is it where they go to a restaurant and there's the same waiters there every time? But
exactly.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it. So
the sort of waiters, you get to know them and they're funny characters or whatever.
Sure.
And it's sort of half trashy and half not. I mean, it's trashy because it's like a dating thing. Mm-hmm. But you also get like lots of intimate moments where like 2 old people have been alone for 40 years or whatever, and they find another like-minded old person and they have a little, you know, they hold hands and have a nice little meal, and it rekindles their you know, joie de vivre or whatever. But then you've also got, like, in the same episode, it's interspersed with clips of the chavviest couple in the world, like like two South London, you know, man and woman, and they're just like, oh geez, they're like flicking chips at each other and like you know, dirty texting each other under the table and all this, you know. And then they always go to the toilet and then they ring their mate